Counsel present with the exception of juror number 2. Jury and also present. Good morning. So we lost another one. Not that this is what turns my hair white, but it's happened enough that my hair turned white. So I'm going to ask that the first thing we do is have an alternate drawn by lot to take the place of juror number 2. Mr. Austin is on the stand right now, so you're still under oath. You can see.
Thank you very much, Your Honor. Good morning, Mr. Austin.
Good morning.
Have you prepared at all for today's questioning by the defense before you got here?
No, sir.
Have you met with your attorney?
Yes, sir.
And did you discuss with him the questioning that you might be going under today under oath at trial?
I was unaware that I was going to be here today, but he did let me know that you're going to ask me some questions.
I'm sorry?
He did let me know that you're going to ask me some questions.
And did he ask you any questions?
No, sir.
Did you ask him any questions about what questions you might be asked today by myself?
No, sir.
Did you go over any of the proffer that was tape recorded?
No, sir.
Did you go over your testimony that you had given originally last week or the week before?
No, sir.
So you have had no preparation since the last time you took the stand?
No, sir.
Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay. I want to go back, Mr. Austin, to the topic of meeting Monica. When you were interviewed on October 2nd, do you remember indicating, this is page 25, lines 1 to 14, if you recognized her face at all and saying not really, like, who is she? You remember saying that?
Objection, cumulative.
So ruled. You answer.
Yes, sir.
And why did you say, who is she? You didn't know who she was?
I didn't know her name.
Well, the question was, do you recognize her face at all? And you had said, like, who is she? And then you said, I mean, I've seen her before, but I don't really like... What did you mean? You didn't know what she looked like?
Didn't really remember.
When was the first time you remembered seeing her?
During the conversations, I remember meeting her at a gym.
At the gym?
Yes, sir.
At LA Fitness?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And you remember approximately when that was?
No, sir, I do not.
Did you go there with anybody?
Yes, sir.
Okay, just to recap what you said before briefly, you knew Mr. Baker worked there, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And when you said you met Monica prior to the murder for the first time at LA Fitness, what month was that, approximately?
Yes, it is.
You recall indicating that you had seen her in September, October, November.
Objection, cumulative.
I'll allow this one question, but it is.
All right. Remember that?
Whenever the last time I went down there to see Baker, that was when I saw her.
Did you know that at all that she was in Las Vegas at any time?
Objection, cumulative.
Well, I'll allow this one question too.
No.
So you never saw her in Las Vegas?
Objection, cumulative.
Sustained.
Let's talk a little bit, Mr. Austin, about the subject of insurance. Were you told by Mr. Baker how you were going to be paid?
Excuse me?
Were you told by Mr. Baker how you were going to be paid?
He informed me that he was going to give me some money.
You remember him saying that she's got some money, we're good, something like that?
Something along those lines.
So he didn't talk about insurance at that time?
Objection vague at this time.
It's a rule.
He said, I remember him saying, like, she's loaded, she's got money, and then the topic of insurance money came up later.
Okay, so it did not come up before you went to Los Angeles or came to Los Angeles, is that right?
Objection cumulative.
I'll allow this.
I'm trying to remember. It might have came up during the phone conversations before I got there.
How long before you got there?
I don't really remember that.
Let me try to refresh your memory. Do you recall indicating when you were interviewed in Vancouver?
I'm sorry.
If he's refreshing his memory, he's reading from the transcript.
If you have a document for the first memory, properly do it.
I'll approach. Would it refresh your memory if I showed you what you said in Vancouver?
Which interview on page 1?
Page 152, lines 1 to 25. I'm reading from lines 14 to 19 on October 2nd, 2024. Let me wait a second. We can read this to yourself.
Page 152 what?
152 lines 1 to 25. Specifically lines 14 to 19. Did you read that to yourself, Mr. Austin?
Yes, sir.
Did that refresh your memory?
Yes, sir.
So when the conversation came up approximately about insurance, maybe a few weeks before you came down to Los Angeles, is that right?
Yes, sir.
So before then, in all the conversations you'd had with Mr. Baker and Mr. Birdsong, the topic of insurance had not come up. Is that correct?
Not that I recall.
You just told you were going to be paid somehow and that she was rich and wealthy. Is that right?
No.
You weren't told that she was rich and wealthy?
No, I was not.
What
I
were
was
you
told
told?
that she's loaded. She's got money.
Okay, loaded. But he didn't tell you how.
Not until a few weeks before.
And who are we talking about telling you? Is this directly from Mr. Baker, or is this on a three-way call, or can you remember?
I just remember Baker saying those words.
To you?
Just, yes.
In person?
The phone.
And was Mr. Birdsong on this phone call, if you remember?
I don't know.
Okay. Now, you recall previously testifying in court and in your earlier statement that you were told you were just going to rough somebody up. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
And Mr. Baker told you that the day of the incident. Isn't that right?
He told me to come with him that day.
He told you to come with him
Yes, sir.
to rough him up.
That's the statement prior
How long prior?
to me getting an attorney.
Okay. So I understand that you made a statement before you got your attorney, Mr. Aval, who's present in court. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, with both the Perkins individual in the jail and to the police and Deputy DA Stagel up in Vancouver, you said that you were told the day of the incident the only thing you were going to do is rough him up. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And you didn't change that statement or that reason for being there until after you had met with your attorney.
Objection, cumulative.
Sustained.
And the first time you then mentioned that, it wasn't just to rough him up, was during the proffer. Is that correct?
Objection, cumulative.
Sustained.
Do you remember when you first mentioned anything other than to rough him up?
Objection, cumulative.
Where did rough him up come from then?
From me.
And from Baker, correct?
In that statement, when I was arrested, that's just what I said.
Okay.
Because I wanted to meet with an attorney first.
Well, the question is, was that the truth?
No, it was not.
Why'd you say it?
I wanted to meet with an attorney before I told them anything.
Well, but you chose to tell him that you were told to rough him up, correct?
Objection, cumulative.
Mr. Austin, after you said that, you were questioned by Detective Byers as how could you be getting any insurance money if you were only going to rough him up and not kill him? Isn't that what they said?
Objection, cumulative.
And your response was, I want to get an attorney. Is that right?
Objection, cumulative.
Let me see counsel. That is his name. Let me see counsel, please. About 10 minutes. Discuss some more items. So let me give you 10 minutes. The admission applies. Call back here about then. Thank you. Until the defendant is present, all counsel present, jury, and alternate present. And again, thank you so much for your patience, and I apologize. Mr. Austin, you still under oath. Mr. Levine, you may continue.
Your Honor, we're asking that you play for the jury in court the proffer that was engaged in with Mr. Austin and the prosecution. We're starting with proffer 1. There were 2 separate days, but it's part of the same proffer, and we'd like to start playing proffer 1 for the jury if we can.
Now let's do first things first. You should have that marked, the audio, as 281.
Yes.
And is that on a CD or is it on a
It'll be on a thumb drive. Your Honor.
thumb drive? Thank you very much. And the transcript itself, it'll be 282. And copies have been given to the jury, and again, the admonition as the transcript applies.
We're on defense exhibits. I believe it's in 6.
Oh my gosh. You have something?
632?
Yeah, I hate to admit this, but I made a mistake. We'll erase that from the record. All right, 632 is the other, and I apologize, Mr. Babbitt, and thank you very much for the correction. We'll pay for it later.
I'm sure I will, Your Honor.
The transcript is 633, and I apologize.
The jurors are ready.
Yes.
Okay. Well, we're here at November 18th, 2024 at 10:48 in the morning. Sorry, just moved 10:49. We're at Robbery Homicide Division in a conference room over at LAPD. And we are sitting for a proper session with Defendant Christopher Austin, his lawyer Simon Aval, the 2 investigating officers on this case,
Detective Corey Burrow.
and a DA paralegal. Eileen Miller. And the two DAs assigned to this case, my name's Deputy District Attorney Beth Silverman. I work in the Major Crimes Division at Everett. And you've met Heather before. And we have a certified court reporter who's also transcribing everything you say. Sarah, you want to go ahead and put your So it's, do you want me to call you by your first name or your last name? Whatever makes you most comfortable. Christopher? Okay. So it's been brought to our attention that you wanted to sit with us to provide information on the murder of Fabio Sementilli that took place back in January, on January 23rd actually, of 2017. The information came by way of your attorney. There is a Proffer agreement that's dated November 5th that your lawyer and I have both signed. I'm going to provide it to you to read through with your lawyer and sign, assuming that all of it is consistent with the discussions you've had off the record with your attorney regarding what's going to happen today.
This is Simon Aval, the attorney of record for Mr. Christopher Austin. I have had a chance to explain to him the parameters of a proper meeting, which is what we are here for today. And I have signed this documentation dated November 18, 2024.
As have I.
And I just want to reiterate for the record that at this time there have been no offers extended to Mr. Austin. We are here in good faith to provide truthful information about the investigation. We are aware that this information cannot be used against Mr. Austin in their case in chief in the event this matter proceeds to trial against Mr. Austin. However, this information can be used for impeachment. In other words, if Mr. Austin were to go to trial, take the stand, and testify, this information could be used, if it is inconsistent with his testimony in trial, to impeach him, to essentially say that when you were testifying at the trial is different than what you're saying today. That should not be a problem. It would have been a truthful statement and information about this case today, tomorrow, or any other day in the future.
And that is the people's understanding as well. Do you understand that, Mr. Burns?
Yes, ma'am.
So that means whatever you tell us here today cannot be used against you. Let's say no offer is made to you based on the information you provide today, or you decline whatever offer is potentially made to you by the district attorney's office. If you were to go to trial, we can't use what you tell us here today against you unless you get up on the stand. Then this information, whatever you say today, it can be used to impeach your trial testimony.
Mr. Austin has signed the document, and I'm dating it November 18, 2024. And Christopher, just make sure when you answer the questions, you speak up, because we are recording this conversation.
I'm going to give a copy of this Proffer agreement to your attorney. If not by email today, then tomorrow. Also, a copy of the recording will be provided to your attorney so that he can go over that with you. Eventually, there'll be a transcript, and once that is reviewed for any typos or corrections, that will also be provided to your lawyer. So your lawyer will have a copy of everything that's done today. As I'm sure you've discussed with your attorney, and I know also with in this case, Detective Byers and Detective Burrell, but also by Heather Stable, who was there at the time that he made various statements that were interviewed during the arrest process up in Washington. That are also applied today. As your attorney has indicated, there are no promises, there are no offers on the table at this time. Based on what you tell us today, the value of that information, whether or not the information that you provide to us can be corroborated or verified by other sources, all of that will come into play along with your last criminal record, the employment that you had at the time that you were arrested on this case, and everything else that we have come to know about you over our investigation that's taken place over the last few years. And at that point, assuming that you provide information that we believe is truthful, that is valuable in some manner, and that can be verified, then and only then may the district attorney's office engage in some type of plea negotiations with your lawyer. And then, obviously, you will have further conversations with your lawyer about that at this time. But today, you're here solely to give us, provide information that is truthful and the best of your recollection. And when I say truthful, that means a couple different things. Number one, it means that all of your answers are thorough and complete. That means you can't pull back any information. If I believe that there is more information that you are not providing, then that would be an indication to me that you would not be completely truthful. Also, when you say, I don't remember, then again, if that's because you're holding back information that you just don't want to tell us, and it's information that reasonably somebody in your position who's never committed a crime of violence before should remember. Again, that can be used as in our analysis of whether or not we're going to offer you any type of disposition in this case if we believe you are not being honest. If it's something you never knew, never heard, were never told, then the answer would be, I don't know. And that would indicate to us that you never had access to that information. It was never set in front of you, it was never presented to you, you just didn't have any information about that. So I wanted to make sure you understood the difference between an answer that is, I don't remember, versus an answer that is, I don't know. Also, if at any point in time during our conversation today, you feel the need to discuss anything with your lawyer in private, we will immediately stop the interview. Either we will all leave the room or we'll put you and your lawyer in a conference room next door and you can talk to him, which will be off the record, not recorded, and confidential, and you can do that as many times as you like. If you want to stop the interview for any purpose because you just need a moment to yourself, or you need to use the restroom, or you need something to eat or drink, obviously there's drinks that have been provided here today, but if at any time you need a moment to yourself, again, all you have to do is say, you know what, I need a moment, or tell your lawyer I need a moment. He is, as I've indicated, free to jump in at any time and stop the interview if he needs a break or he wants to talk to you as well, because we obviously want to make sure that, number one, we're getting truth from you, but number two, that you're as comfortable as possible under the circumstances, and that you have every opportunity to speak to your lawyer throughout this process.
Thank you.
Does that sound fair? Does that sound fair?
Yes.
At no time during this interview is there going to be any coercion, any threats. We are not here to try to make you feel bad. We are not here to try and judge you. I have the feeling, based on my review of your interview and the statements that you made while you were in here to do any of that. We are moving forward, and we're here today to see what it is that you can tell us regarding this horrific crime. And again, if at any time you need a moment, all you have to do is speak up. You can either do that yourself, or you can let your lawyers know. Does that all sound fair to you? Do you have any questions for me or any of the individuals in this room right now?
From my understanding, this is not going to be used against me in court.
With the exception.
With the exception, you find it untruthful, I would be impeached. If that's accurate or correct.
You did, and that again would only happen if you were to testify. So if we find what you say today to be untruthful, that you never hit the stand, you never take the stand in any proceeding, then it will not be used.
Let me simplify that for you. If hypothetically today you said, yes, I was there, then we go to trial, you get on the witness stand and say, I was never there. They can bring this up and say, well, you told us you were there on that date, therefore they were impeaching you. That's how I. So, okay, do you feel comfortable with that moving forward?
Do you have any other questions? Okay, and just so you know, I'm asking you these things up front, but that doesn't mean you can't interrupt me at any time, or anybody that's in this room that's going to maybe ask questions and ask your own questions. I want. Doesn't matter. You don't have to interrupt, but you can say things like, I don't understand your question. Do you mean this or do you mean that? Like, clarify it so that we make sure that what you're answering and that you're clear on what you're answering is the specific question that's being asked of you. So if you have any questions about the nature of what we're asking, feel free to clarify that either through your lawyer or directly at any of us. Because sometimes we're not all that eloquent and we fumble over ourselves, or there might be multiple meanings to certain questions, there might be multiple answers to certain questions, and I want to make sure that you have the opportunity to fully understand the questions that are being asked of you so that you're answering it in a way that is truthful. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. Are there any other questions that you want to ask of any of us at this time?
Right.
Okay. I'm going to start out just by going through some basic questions with you. Yes, and before we do that, thank you, Sarah. Sarah is going to administer the oath, so that what you say today will be under oath. That's fair to you?
Yes.
Okay. Mr. Austin, who's your name? And then how you're going to before you want to tell us your career, you can start to tell you the whole truth and then you know the truth for everybody. Let me just ask, are you right or left-handed? And tell us what your date of birth is. That makes you 38 years old? And what is your height? Approximately.
In my mind, I'm 6 foot.
In your mind?
I'm 5'7".
5'7". Okay. And approximately how much do you weigh?
Great question. Probably about 200 pounds now.
Okay. Do you think you weighed approximately that much back in January of 2017? Heavier in January?
I know you're very soft-spoken, so I'm trying to. I'm sitting on you, and I can barely hear you. I apologize. I was heavy.
Okay.
Boy, that was a very long morning. We're going to take our adjournment now for a lunch. I know you probably want to work through lunch. I don't blame you. I do have a judges meeting, unfortunately, that I have to attend. In any event, we will be in adjournment until 1:30. And the admonition applies, not to discuss this case either among yourselves or with anyone else, or form express any opinion until the cause is finally submitted to you. Have a good lunch. See you at 1:30. Seems like that's all I've been doing is apologizing, but I apologize. Mr. Austin, you still under oath. Mr. Levine, you may continue.
I think we're playing the rock or
Very good. I was happy here.
Okay. And sometimes you might hear me repeat what you say just to make sure I'm understanding. Because sometimes things don't sink in that quickly in my brain either, and so I might repeat things. And you were born where?
Fayetteville, North Carolina.
And what's your father's name?
William C. Austin.
And what's his date of birth, if you know? What is approximate age?
He's about 65, 66 now. He's 67 this year.
Okay. Okay. And it's my understanding that you met Robert Baker through your father.
Yes.
And do you recall when that was?
It's my understanding that he's known me since I was a child.
Okay.
So, he came around periodically here every other few years or so.
Did he used to live in North Carolina in Fayetteville?
Yeah. But the story that I was told, he left shortly after high school and never returned that much.
Okay.
He would only come back to visit family.
His family.
Yes.
Are his family and your family friends?
Not to my knowledge.
Other than the fact that your father and he are friends?
Yes.
Okay. And did your dad introduce you to Robert Baker as a childhood friend?
Yes.
Do you recall what age you were when you first met Robert Baker?
Maybe middle school.
Okay. So preteen?
Preteen, yes.
And did your father and Robert Baker grow up basically in the same location in Fayetteville?
Yes.
Okay. Did they go to school together according to
Yes.
what your father and Robert Baker have told you?
Yes.
Okay. And have you had any conversations with your father since your arrest?
No. Well, yes. Only when my sister's around. He had a stroke recently, so our conversations aren't what they used to be.
Right. But let me ask a few questions about that. Is your family aware at this point in time that you were involved in a murder with Robert Baker?
I'm sure they do now.
Well, I don't want to know what you're sure of. I want to know if you had any conversations with anybody in your family.
No.
You have not had direct conversation about this January 23rd, 2017 murder with anybody in your family?
I never talked to them about it.
Did you ever have conversation, and that's true even after you've been arrested, like in other words, through jail calls. You haven't had any phone calls to your family where you've discussed your involvement in this murder?
No. I was told somebody looked it up, though.
Who told you that?
My wife told me this.
Chloe?
Wait. Yeah, they looked it up and said this is a big case.
Okay. Does your wife Chloe have conversations with your family back in Fayetteville?
See, only when they talk to me on the phone right now.
But
What do you?
since you've been in custody, has Chloe been talking to your family about this case?
I don't know.
Has
I
she
know.
not said anything to you about, I've told your parents and your family's aware that you're in custody down in California?
Oh,
Something of
yes.
that nature?
Yes. It's that, yes. When I talk to her, they text and say, I talked to Chris. With my siblings.
With
not
your
my,
siblings?
Not so much my dad, because, the situation.
What about your mom? Is she still around?
Yes.
And what about your mother? Has Chloe been in contact, or have you been in contact with your mom?
I haven't contacted my mom, but I think my siblings have.
Have any of them come to visit you here in LA? What about Chloe? No?
No. Sorry.
I didn't get your question yet. Has anybody come to visit you in Los Angeles since you've been in custody?
No, ma'am.
What about Chloe?
No, ma'am.
Are you in contact, regular contact with Chloe?
When I'm allowed to use the phone.
In terms of your involvement in this case, has your family been made aware that your involvement was through Robert Baker, your dad's childhood friend?
Yes. I believe so.
What do you mean by I believe so?
I can't really confirm and say like, oh, no one's told me that, oh, I told everybody. But I believe my mom knew based on ID channel.
Okay, tell me about that.
She watches it a lot.
Mm-hmm. What is the ID channel?
I don't really watch it too much.
Okay.
I think that's whatever the major case that was presented on TV, she saw it. And she knew Baker because of my dad.
So your mom had seen a show about this murder.
That's what she told me.
Before you were in custody?
Yes.
So your mom saw a show about the murder on TV, whether it's on ID channel or something else, and that she knew Baker was involved.
Yes.
Did she ever make any comment that she thought you were involved?
She said, I hope you're not.
And when she said, I hope you're not, what do you think she said that to you for?
Because she knew I lived with him for a short time.
And what did you tell her about your involvement?
I told her I don't know.
What do you mean, I don't know?
I told her I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay. So basically deny any involvement.
Yes,
You
ma'am.
lied to your mom.
I did.
What's your mom's name?
Calvetta?
Are your parents still together?
No.
Does your mom live in North Carolina?
South Carolina?
Is she remarried?
No.
When was the last time you spoke with her?
Right after the hurricane. I was going to fly down and help her clear out some trees and stuff.
So what month would that have been?
September? About September?
This year.
Yes.
And your dad is still in Fayetteville?
Yes.
Is your dad remarried?
No.
Who takes care of him?
My sister and a caregiver that comes, to my understanding, 3 times a week. 2 to 3 times a week.
What's your sister's name?
Derry.
Can you spell that?
D-A-R-I.
Derry. Is she married?
She is.
And does she live with your dad?
No.
Does she have kids?
Yes.
Did she ever ask you, or have you talked to her at all about this crime?
No.
Is there anybody in your family or friends that can verify what you're going to tell us today?
No.
is there any evidence, independent evidence, such as a cell phone, cloud, you know what an iCloud or a cloud backup is? Said yes?
Yes.
Is there anything outside of your family or friends who can verify what you're telling us today?
Not to my knowledge.
Okay. So you have spoken to no one about this crime?
I have spoken to no one about this.
And why is that? It can be a very simple answer. You can answer however you want. I just don't want to put words in your mouth.
I'm ashamed.
Because you're ashamed of your role.
Yes.
Has there ever, in your 38 years on this planet, has there ever been a time where you have been involved in a crime, anything similar to this? We're talking murder.
No.
Is there any time that you've been involved in any crime of violence?
No.
Why do you think, in this case, or tell us why you believe you became involved in a crime like this?
How do you mean? I don't really want to say it. No, I don't.
I know. I want to, and you can answer it again in any way that you see fit. I want to know what it was, given what I know about you, why you were involved in this crime. What led you to be involved in this particular crime?
They told me he needed me.
Who?
Baker.
To do what?
He said I needed you to help me do this.
To do what?
I needed you to help me take out the husband.
And what word, what name or word, or how did he refer to the husband? Did he call him by his name? Did he refer to Monica as her husband? How did he refer to you when, because this would be something huge for you, right? Because you don't do these kinds of things. When he talked to you and said that he needed you to help him take somebody out, how did he refer to that victim?
I don't know why. I don't. His normal language is motherfucker.
Motherfucker. And did he tell you who the motherfucker was?
Yes.
And who did he say that was?
Monica's husband.
And he specifically said it was Monica's husband.
Yes.
And when did this conversation occur where Baker said he needed you to help him take out this motherfucker, Monica's husband?
I think when I got back to LA
When you got back to LA?
in January.
After the murder?
No.
Oh, before you were, when you got back to LA, so you think that this happened after you arrived in Los Angeles?
Yes, like when I landed in California. When he told me.
Okay, we'll come back to that.
I don't want to lie, so I'm trying to remember
Understood, and we're going to go back and forth, and things might clarify in terms of time sequences when we start going through various events. But I want to ask you, you moved to Alaska what year? Was it around 2016?
2008.
2008.
2008, 2009?
You moved to Alaska in 2008 to 2009.
No, between.
Okay. And when you moved to Alaska, were you still working for Baker?
Not really.
What does that mean?
I just not at all, honestly.
Not at all.
Not at all. I moved. There was a situation between him and his spouse, and I was like, maybe I need to leave. And I went up to Alaska,
Where did you move from?
LA.
And where were you living in LA in 2008 before you moved to Alaska?
I'm sorry, what?
Where were you living in Los Angeles when you moved to Alaska?
Like what area?
Yeah. Were you living in the city? Were you living in the San Fernando Valley? Were you living in Santa Clarita? Were you living in San Diego? Where were you living?
All I know is the valley.
The San Fernando Valley? Do you remember the street you were living on?
Catherine and Winnetka.
Winnetka. Okay. And Catherine? In an apartment?
Catherine was a house.
And who were you living in the house with?
Baker.
And his wife?
Yes.
Who was his wife at that time?
Her name was Nika.
I'm sorry?
Nikki.
Nikki. Do you know her by any other name?
She was a dancer called Amber, I think, at one point, but that was none of my business, so I didn't really.
I don't really, in this interview, I don't really want to hear about what's your business and what's not your business.
Okay.
I'm asking you questions, and I want the answer to the questions. I understand none of this is really your business.
Okay.
So we can use that as a broad umbrella. That doesn't mean that you know things or don't know things. So you knew her also as Amber and that she was a dancer.
Yes.
Where was she a dancer?
I don't know. Multiple clubs.
At clubs.
Yes.
How did you know she was a dancer at various clubs? Did you go to these clubs?
No. She told me.
She told you.
Yes.
And she was Baker's wife.
Yes.
So you, Nikki, and Baker were all living together at a house on Catherine in Winnetka.
Well, I think Catherine's in Winnetka. I don't really know the area.
Okay.
Like that,
But that's where you remember the house being, on Catherine. Is that right?
there was a house on Catherine Street, and then we moved from there to Winnetka.
Oh, okay. So you moved from Catherine to Winnetka.
Yes.
And where did you move to in Winnetka?
I don't remember that address.
Do you remember the street
No.
or what it was near?
No.
You don't remember anything about what it was close to?
I remember what the house looked like,
Okay.
but I don't remember where it was at. I know there's a grocery store down the street from it.
What
I don't remember.
grocery?
Bill. I'm sorry. It's just a
It's okay.
long time. I don't want to get anything wrong.
You can, by the way,
I don't really remember the name of the grocery
okay.
store.
If you remember during the course of the interview, anything that I ask you and you say, oh,
There's a Carl Jr. down, not too far.
okay. If you remember things when I ask you questions later on, even though we've moved on to something else, feel free to interrupt me and say, I remember, by the way, X, Y, and Z. That's fine.
Okay.
Okay. And so the three of you moved from Catherine to another location in Winnetka, in the valley?
Yes.
Okay. And what was the situation that occurred between Baker and his wife that caused you to move out of LA or the San Fernando Valley to Alaska?
My brother called and said he needed help bringing my nephews.
And where was he?
Alaska.
So your brother was already living in Alaska.
Yes, ma'am.
Where is that in Alaska that he was living?
Anchorage.
With his son?
All three boys and the mother of his children at the time.
With his sons and wife?
Girlfriend.
Okay. Who were living in Anchorage. And so you left and moved up there to live with your brother and his girlfriend and the kids?
Mm-hmm.
Is that a yes?
Yes.
Okay. And when you left, did you maintain contact with Baker?
Yes.
Okay. And how did you maintain contact?
Phone calls, text messages.
Okay. And how often would you say you were in contact with Baker once you moved up to Anchorage? Was it daily, weekly?
In the beginning, it was probably weekly, every 2 weeks.
Okay. And before you moved to Alaska, you were working for Baker.
Yes.
How many years did you work for Baker?
About 3.
So what years were those?
06 to about 08. I'm counting, from the time I got there.
Did you initially
Shortly
live?
after 05.
Did you initially live with him in Vegas?
Yes.
Where?
There was a Walmart close by.
What area of Vegas? The city, suburbs,
North Las Vegas.
North Las Vegas? While you were in North Las Vegas, did Baker introduce you to some friends,
A lot of friends.
such as?
A lot of people, Miss Beckley. A lot of people.
Is that when you first met Al Birdsong?
No.
You knew Al before that. So when did you first meet Al? If it wasn't when you were living in Vegas.
A year and a half after we left Vegas.
When you were living in the San Fernando Valley?
Yes.
Is that when Al came down to Los Angeles?
Yes.
Did Al come down alone, or did he come down with someone else?
He came along, if I remember correctly.
Okay. And how do you refer to Al?
I call him Unc.
Unc?
Mm-hmm.
Is that like uncle?
UNC.
Uh-huh.
Just abbreviate.
And is that, why do you call him Unc? Because you have that close of a relationship with him?
We built that over the years. Yeah.
Okay. And you referred to Baker also as Unc, right?
Yes. It's a southern endearment of like, you told me to trust you, so I trust you.
And you're still in touch with Al, correct?
Every now and again.
Have you been in touch with him since you were taken into custody?
No, ma'am.
When was the last time you had any contact with Al Birdsong?
I want to say sometime in September.
Of this year?
Yes, ma'am.
Did your Uncle Rob ever introduce you to a guy by the name of Ron Ray or his wife, Michelle?
He sounds familiar.
Picture. Did you work with Baker when you were in Las Vegas?
When I lived there?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I was his driver.
And what was Baker into then that you were driving him?
multiple meetings with adult, up-and-coming adult film stars.
Adult film stars?
Yes,
Okay. So in the adult film business or industry?
yes.
And was Baker married in Vegas?
How do you,
Was Baker also married while you were living in Vegas?
to my knowledge, yes,
Were you living with him?
yes,
And was he living with a wife?
yes.
And who was that?
Nikki,
And Nikki? Just the three of you?
yes.
Okay. And the phone number that you have used to reach Baker all these many years, I'm going to give you a phone number and you tell me if it sounds familiar. 213.
That sounds familiar.
Is that the phone number that you use regularly to communicate with Baker even when you were in the San Fernando Valley living together? And you have no prior convictions for anything, is that correct?
No, ma'am.
Ever been arrested?
No, ma'am. Paul, what is your definition of arrest?
The police take you into custody.
No, not until recently.
This case.
Yes,
And on this case, you were arrested, I think it was October 2nd of this year. Is that right? About 9:30 in the morning
yes, ma'am.
in Vancouver, Washington.
Yes, ma'am.
And you spoke with both of the two investigating officers here, Detective Byers and Detective Burwell, on that date of October 2nd of 2024, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And you also spoke with my partner here, Detective DA Heather Stable.
Yes, DA Heather.
Yes.
I remember her.
And you also spoke with your cellmate, Willie Boyd, correct?
Yes,
Okay. And at any time during the arrest or your time up in Vancouver, Washington, did anybody make any threats to you?
no, ma'am.
Did anybody make any promises to you?
No, ma'am.
Did anybody coerce you?
No, ma'am.
And then you were extradited to Los Angeles in October.
Yes, ma'am.
Do you remember the date?
17.
The 17th?
Yes,
And you waived extradition, right?
yes, ma'am.
That means you didn't even need to be brought to court. You basically said, I'm ready, bring me to Los Angeles.
That's how I understood.
And when were you married?
November 21, 2021.
Okay. And you have a 3-year-old daughter? Is that yes?
Yes, ma'am.
And she's living with Chloe right now up in Vancouver, Washington?
Yes, ma'am.
Can you, prior to January of 2017, can you describe the relationship you had with Robert Baker? Close friends,
He was
like family,
He's still considered like family.
like family.
You know,
Trusted him?
trusted him.
Trusted that he would look out for your well-being and best interest?
Yes.
Did you ever introduce him to Chloe?
No.
How old were you when you first started working for Robert Baker?
19.
So you were a kid,
Fresh out of high school.
fresh out of high school. And how many years did you work for him?
The whole time I lived with him.
How many years?
So from about 2005 to about 2008 when I left.
So about 3 years.
Yes.
And what was your title besides driving? Did you have a title?
He would always say he's my personal assistant.
Okay. And what was Baker's job during this period of time when you were working with him from 2005 to 2008?
He managed models, is what I was told.
Models?
Adult film stars. Or inspiring adult film stars.
Okay.
Male and female.
And how were you paid?
Cash mostly, or
By Baker?
yes.
And that was both while you were in Las Vegas living with him and also when you were in the San Fernando Valley in the Los Angeles area. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
Was there ever anybody else that you lived with either in Las Vegas or in the San Fernando Valley besides Baker and his wife, Nikki?
I lived by myself in an apartment he was renting briefly
Where?
in the same
Same, meaning Vegas or LA?
in LA,
Okay.
but I was only there for a little while.
Where?
Sherman Oaks?
Sherman Oaks. Okay. Again, in the San Fernando Valley?
Yes.
How long did you live alone?
About 3 months.
Was that before you moved in with Baker and Nikki in the valley or after?
No, I was with them the whole time.
Oh, they lived there too. I thought you said you lived alone.
When I got to LA, I had found out that he owned the house in Vegas. The house in Vegas he owned. And the apartment. I didn't
The
know.
apartment in Sherman Oaks.
So that's when he was like, yeah, I got this. I was enticed by, oh, you can own it. I didn't think people could own 2 properties at that time.
Mm-hmm.
So when they said we got to get a bigger spot, they left. And I stayed there until the lease was up
They left where?
to the house, Cap
So they left the Sherman Oaks
apartment.
apartment for a period of time, and you lived there alone for a while until you moved in with them on Catherine.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. When, at any point in time from when you first met Baker as a kid until January 2017, were you ever aware that he had a criminal history?
Not really, no.
What does not really mean?
He told me that I didn't find out he had a probation officer until like 2007, the end of 2007.
And how did you find out about that?
He said, I gotta go see somebody. And I noticed his son. He said, I gotta check in. Cool dude. I said, check in. He said, yeah, I got a probation officer. I got a case some years ago.
Did he tell you what the case was about?
Sexual assault?
Did you ever ask your dad about that?
No.
Did your dad ever tell you about Baker's prior sexual assault?
No.
Did Baker ever tell you that he had to register as a sex offender?
Yeah. I think he did.
You think so?
I think he told me.
Okay, and did you know why he was registered as a sex offender?
I assume because of sexual assault. I don't really dive into details.
Okay, I don't want to know what you assumed. Did he ever tell you that he was a sex registrant or that he had to register every time he moved?
He didn't tell me that every time he moved. He just told me he had to register.
Were you familiar with any of other Baker's wives other than Nikki?
No.
Did you ever talk to your dad about Baker and his he went to state prison? That he had served time in state prison?
Yes.
And was that when you were living in Las Vegas that you found out about all this, or when you were in the San Fernando Valley?
The San Fernando Valley.
So that was after you had worked for Baker for a number of years?
Yes.
Okay.
Here's the rest.
Court. It is 11:40. Okay, we're back on the record. It's 11:47. Did you get an opportunity to use the restroom?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, good. Let's see, where were we? Oh, we left off talking a little bit about Baker. Did you also live with Al Birdsong at some point?
He moved in at the Catherine house, so yes,
Who moved in?
Mr. Birdsong.
Al moved in with who?
Baker
Where?
at the Catherine house. That's how I was.
Oh, in the San Fernando Valley?
Yes, ma'am.
And that was with you? When you were there, and Nikki?
Yes.
Okay. How long was Al living there?
Maybe half a year, almost a year,
6 to 12 months?
6 to 12 months.
And then did he go back to Vegas?
I think he bought a house in Vegas.
Did you ever go to that house in Vegas?
Yes.
And you stayed at that house in Vegas?
We had a definition of stay, like spent the night.
Overnight?
hanging out. Yes.
Was that the house on Timberline Avenue, or does that sound familiar?
Yes.
Did you know what Al did for work?
Not really. I knew it was in like some type of government or security of some high quality.
Did he ever mention, or did Baker ever mention to you that he worked for Homeland Security?
Yes.
And was there any conversation ever with Al Birdsong about burner phones? You know what a burner phone is, right?
Yes.
What's a burner phone?
A phone that, to my understanding, the phone is not really tracked.
Like a secret phone?
Yes.
Where it's like you pay as you go and it's not necessarily registered?
Yes.
When you stayed with Al in Timberline, did you live with him ever for a period of time or just stayed overnight?
No, stayed overnight.
Okay. Was that with Baker?
Yes.
How many times would you say you stayed on Timberline with Al, with Baker?
Probably any time I went to Vegas.
Approximately a dozen times, half dozen, more?
A handful.
What does that mean?
I think like 4 times maybe.
And did you have any conversations about burner phones ever with Al?
He talked to me about them.
What did he tell you?
He said exactly what the definition is, that they're untraceable. And
When did that come up?
sporadically,
What was the context? Did it have anything to do with this murder?
his job.
And did you and Al,
That I remember his job.
did you and Al and Baker ever talk about burner phones altogether?
Yes.
And what was the context of that?
How they're used, who uses them,
What did you say about that? Baker.
in the context of that I can remember. People use them all the time. If they can't either get like a cell phone registered for the bad credit, or they're coming out of jail, or like they just need a phone for the moment, context like that.
Did you and Baker and Al ever talk about about the fact that burner phones can be used if you're going to set up a crime or a conspiracy.
Yes,
When did that conversation happen?
I don't remember. Meaning like, it would take me a while to go all the way back and try to figure that out.
Was it near in time to when you committed this crime?
Yes.
Did that conversation happen at Al's, over the phone, at Baker's? Where did this conversation occur?
Over the phone, I believe.
So it was a three-way call?
I think so.
What does that mean? Did you have multiple three-way calls between you, Baker, and Al?
Yes.
Approximately how many three-way calls between you, Baker, and Al do you think you had?
I don't want to lie to you, Beth.
More than one?
More than
More than two?
about 3, maybe,
Could it be more than three?
possibly.
Could it have been as many as half a dozen or more?
Possibly, yes.
And did any of the three-way calls between you, Baker, and Al relate specifically to this job of getting rid of Monica's husband? We can leave the room too if you want.
Sure, may I ask just one moment?
Yep. Sarah? Or do you want to move them because it's recording?
Yes.
We're going to have you guys move to another room so that nothing's being recorded in your conversation. Completely confidential. It's 11:54 and Mr. Austin and his lawyer are leaving the room. It is 11:57. We're back on the record. I just had a very brief conversation with your lawyer. I know that the position that you're in here today isn't good, right? Like, we understand how difficult it is to be in your position. However, you know why you're here.
Yes, ma'am.
You have said on multiple occasions, from what I've read through, that you're ashamed of what happened in your participation in it. And I understand that, like I said, that you're in a very difficult position, but how forthcoming you are is appreciated and will be something that obviously is going to be taken into account with respect to any potential disposition that we offer you through your counsel.
And I have advised him that it is in his best interest to be as forthcoming and as truthful as possible and to answer all your questions to the best of his ability.
Thank you, Mr. Ball. And I think we all believe you're doing exactly that. If it gets to a point where I don't, I have a lot of work, we all do, and, I've walked out of proper sessions on many occasions. But I'm so appreciative of the way that you are handling yourself today.
I'm trying to prove it, so forgive me.
No, there's nothing to forgive. There's no apology needed. I just want to put that on the record. I also want to put on the record, since we're getting into now other individuals besides Monica Sementilli and Robert Baker, that if any disposition is offered to you, it will be, assuming a disposition is offered, it will be contingent upon you testifying at any and all court proceedings, whether it's understand that?
Yes, ma'am.
It also means that there may be follow-up to this interview today. In other words, we might need another day. If you get to the point where you're exhausted, we'll pick up another day. I hope not, because I'd like to get as much done as possible, because I know how difficult it is for you to have to be worrying about it overnight and then transported back and forth and all of that.
After suffering, it's okay.
No, and this is not about causing suffering. What I'm trying to tell you is that there may be follow-up, and there may be questions that the detectives or I or Heather have, and some of those might come through your lawyer. Like we might call your lawyer and say, Mr. Ball, did you ask your client X, Y, and Z? Or we might need to sit down again and have you brought out. I'm just letting you know that those are all options, and if there is ever a time where you believe that, because obviously when you start digging away at something, sometimes memories come up that you might not initially have remembered, and if that happens, you're to contact your lawyer, and we will absolutely set up another interview for you at your convenience and the lawyer's, of course. Okay, so back to what we were discussing just before we took a short break. You can talk to your lawyer. There were apparently three-way calls that took place regarding burner phones used to set up crimes, such as conspiracies between you, Baker, and Al Birdsong.
Yes.
And when in time did those occur prior to the murder, knowing that the murder occurred on January 23rd of 2017? This is the date of the murder. I'm putting it on sticky. It says 1/23/17 to give you a frame of reference.
Maybe 4 or 5 months.
So, in terms of these conversations that took place 4 to 5 months prior to January 23rd of 2017, tell us the nature of those three-way calls that took place regarding burner phones used to set up crimes or conspiracies.
Like
What was discussed?
the conferences. The best way to do it,
Best way to do what?
to cause harm to the victim, to cause harm to the victim.
In this case, Monica's husband.
Yes.
And how was Monica's husband referred to in these conversations that you had in these three-way calls between you and Robert Baker and Al Birdsong?
Dude, mother, I didn't really know his name.
Dude, motherfucker.
They didn't really tell me his name.
Well, at some point you knew who it was, though. Did they say Monica's husband? Did they use
Yes.
Fabio Sementilli? Did they use...
That is her husband.
And was Monica involved in any of these conversations?
I never looked at her. No.
Was there anybody else involved in these conversations 4 to 5 months before the murder involving how to do it, causing harm to Monica's husband, besides you, Robert Baker, and Al Birdsong?
I don't know. I don't remember other than us.
3,
Other than us three, I think.
you think?
Like, who else? Like, you're asking who else?
Was on these calls?
I honestly don't remember. I'm not trying to lie to you.
Might there have been other people on these calls when you guys were having these conversations 4 to 5 months before the murder?
Possibly. I did.
I'm sorry, you did what?
I did a lot of tuning out.
Yeah. Were these
Were
these like scheduled calls? You know what I'm saying? Or were you talking to Rob and then he's like, hang on, let me...
Yes.
Or did you have it like,
No.
like we're all going to get on a call?
He said, I'm going to give you a call. he told me, like, how, and again, I'm trying to remember, so please forgive me. He was like, call me and say, hey, I'm gonna give you a call.
That's wrong.
Yeah,
Like, stand by, I'm gonna get other people on the phone kind of thing?
yeah, and they would talk about it.
Did you
I
know?
remember hearing about, like, could you shoot him?
Talk about shooting him.
Yeah,
So you knew 4 to 5 months minimum before this whole thing went down that we're talking about murder.
yeah.
And what was the conversation about shooting him, meaning Monica's husband?
Just go, you could go in and just shoot him and be done.
And why was that ruled out, or was it?
I think it was ruled out because it's my understanding that that would be too loud. That's what I heard.
From who?
I think Birdsong or Baker.
Which one? Or both?
They both were in a conversation. It would be too loud.
Do you know somebody by the name of LaShane Holmes?
No.
You don't know him.
Shane?
LaShane Holmes, who lives in Los Angeles.
I would have to see a picture. That name doesn't ring a bell.
Okay, we'll show you a picture. Have you ever heard the name? Does the name ring a bell?
Shane?
LaShane Holmes.
Shane.
Have you ever heard that name?
Shane sounds familiar, but not Shane.
Okay, Shane what?
Shane.
No last name?
No last name.
Okay. I'm going to put an exhibit tag on this, and I'm going to mark it Exhibit 1. It's base stamp 211006. This individual here. You ever met that guy?
No, not to my knowledge.
So I'm looking at some phone records, and it shows on the date of January 2nd of 2017. So this would be about 21 days before the murder at 7:04 at night. You had a phone number, 907-306, right?
Yes.
740. Yeah, say it again. Correct?
Yes.
And that was your regular phone that you still had at the time that you were arrested in this case, correct?
Yes.
That is not the burner phone that we're going to talk about, right?
No.
Okay. I have down that you made a call to Al Birdsong at 7:04 at night on January 2nd, and the phone number you used to call Birdsong.
That's the Vegas area code.
Later, you called Baker at 213. Not his burner, but his regular phone. On January 11th, you called Baker and at 12:30 in the morning, and less than an hour later, Baker calls LaShane Holmes, and then later that day, you call Baker, and then you text Baker, and then Baker texts you. So it sounds like there's a lot of communications that go on January 11th. Again, this would be at least 10 days before the murder.
Yes.
And these are conversations between you and Baker, and then in the middle, Baker contacting this individual, LaShane Holmes.
Okay.
Did you ever hear Baker talk about a guy by the name of Holmes? LaShane. Shane, who lives near LAX.
Yeah.
Okay, what did Baker say about LaShane Holmes?
I'm trying to think.
Shut your line, you'll keep it going in the back of your brain. We'll come back.
Because I don't want to get stuck.
Understood. The following day, after this set of calls between you and Baker to LaShane, Baker put $380. He moves it from one account to another, and you then remove the money from his account up in Anchorage, Alaska. Is that yes?
Yes. I remember that.
How did you get access to Baker's account? Did he send you an access card? How were you able to do that?
He sent me a card.
Do you still have that card?
No,
What did you do with it?
got rid of it.
Was it an ATM card?
Yes.
And when he sent you that money,
I just sent it back.
okay,
I don't have it.
when he transfers money to a particular account, did he tell you, did he contact you in some manner, whether it's by phone, text, or homing pigeon, that was a joke,
I know.
that there was money for you to withdraw from his account?
Yes.
Okay, and how did he contact you to tell you that he was sending you money?
He called.
And then how did he send you the ATM card?
In the mail.
And then you took that ATM card and you went to what I believe is in Anchorage, Alaska, a credit union 1, right?
Yes.
And from this credit union 1, you withdrew the money that Baker sent you. Is that right?
Yes.
What did you withdraw that money for?
A plane ticket.
To where?
Los Angeles.
For what?
To cause harm to the victim.
When you say cause harm, if we're talking about shooting, we're not talking about causing harm, correct?
Murder.
Did you know, and did Baker say to you, that this money is being sent for you to come out to help him kill Monica's husband?
Yes.
And again, how did he refer to Monica's husband?
Motherfucker, dude.
Yeah.
Monica's husband.
Okay. Prior to
Her
that,
husband.
I'm sorry?
Her husband.
Her husband. Prior to that time, you had met Monica.
Yes.
Tell me the first time you met Monica.
I think we were in the gym.
At LA Fitness in the Valley?
Yeah, he always wanted to take me to the gym when I came to visit and hang out.
Okay. And that's in the Canoga Park area?
Yes.
Okay. And when you went to the LA Fitness in Canoga Park, did you know that Rob was the racquetball coordinator there?
Yes, no,
Okay.
like, I knew he was, like, working. I didn't know, like, his actual title. He told me,
Okay.
because he kind of came and went as he pleased.
Yeah. But you knew he had some kind of connection to that gym.
Yes.
How many times have you been to that LA Fitness with Rob?
A few.
What does that mean?
Like, when I live with him, when I come to visit, he just takes, I was like, can we go to the gym?
That's always been the gym.
No, sometimes we went somewhere further, but I would fall asleep. This is prior to me finding out I have sleep apnea. So sometimes we went different gyms, but that's the main gym.
Okay. How many times would you say you have been to the LA Fitness on Canoga Park?
maybe?
Some of the times when you would come in from Anchorage and other times when you were still living here.
Yes.
Okay. And when you would go to the gym with him, he would introduce you to people?
Yes.
And when you said you met Monica prior to the murder for the first time at LA Fitness, what month was that? Or year? Was that in,
16?
okay, do you remember what month?
I do not.
How many months prior to the murder? Again, the murder being January 23rd, so the first month of...
So maybe September, October? September?
Of 2016?
Yeah.
Did you meet her after the phone call? You know, you were doing those three-way calls 4 or 5 minutes before. Have you met her yet?
I don't think so.
So at some point in September, October of 2016, you went to LA Fitness with Rob and you met Monica.
Mm-hmm.
Is that a yes?
Yes.
And did you play racquetball with her?
Yeah.
How many times?
Maybe 2 or 3 games.
On the same day or on different days?
I want to say they were all on the same day when I met her.
And you met some of his other friends in the racquetball group that time too, right?
Yes.
And did that include Paula, remember Paula McCullum?
I don't remember Paul.
Sean McCullum?
I would need to see a picture.
Did you go out to dinner with some of his friends from the racquetball league?
Yeah. That was like a typical thing because it was on me.
Maybe more.
I'm going to show you what I'm marking as Exhibit 2, and it's a photograph of Paula McCullum. Do you recognize her?
Yeah, she looks familiar. Yeah, she looks familiar.
So those have been people that you met at the gym at LA Fit and then went to dinner with Rob?
Yeah. It could be.
Showing you Exhibit 3, Mark. This is her husband, Sean McCullum. Do you recognize him?
I do.
Okay. You remember going to dinner with him?
Yeah. It wasn't too far from the gym.
Mm-hmm. Where'd you go?
I don't remember the name of the restaurant.
Do you remember what kind of food?
Bar food, kind of like an Applebee's style.
We talked about how on November 11th January 11th of 2017, there were numerous communications between you and Baker, and then you and Birdsong, and then you removed money from an ATM card from Baker's account up in Anchorage. And then on that same day, on January 12th, there are multiple communications between Baker and Monica throughout the time that he's calling you. For instance, just to give you another idea, on January 12th, 2017, from 12:31 to 1:25, Baker and Monica are communicating. They're using an encrypted app. Do you know what Viber is?
No.
Do you know what an encrypted app is?
I do.
What is an encrypted app?
It's my understanding that an encrypted app is something that can't really, well, I don't know how true it is, but it was explained to me that it's like a random bunch of numbers when you text.
meaning that someone else wouldn't be able to see the content?
Yes.
So it would be a secret means of communication?
Yes.
And in fact, you used a secret means of communication after the murder to communicate with Baker, correct?
Yes.
And what did you use?
WhatsApp, I think is what he told me to download.
And you did that, right? And that was what you used after the murder to communicate back and forth with Baker?
Yes.
Again, I was talking about January 12th, so I told you about how Baker and Monica are communicating via an encrypted app. And then there's phone calls from a house phone, Monica's house phone to Baker, and then all of a sudden, that goes on till 3:04 p.m., and then at 3:04, Baker calls you. And then at 3:07, Baker and Monica are communicating again. My question to you is, did you and Baker discuss the fact that Monica wanted her husband dead prior to the time that you came to LA?
Yes.
What did Baker tell you about that?
He told me, from what I can recall, look, she doesn't like him. She's gonna come into some money.
She's going to come into some money? What does that mean?
I'm assuming if he dies, she is gonna get some money for it.
Is that what they said?
Yes.
If her husband dies, she'll come into money.
Yes.
Okay. So was that also part of the conversations that you were having with Birdsong and Baker regarding getting rid of Monica's husband?
Yes, that I can remember.
And did Birdsong also discuss the fact that Monica wanted to get rid of her husband in order to get his money?
That's what I overheard.
What do you mean overheard?
When they were talking in conversations, they're like, oh, she wants him gone.
What do you mean by overheard? Like during a three-way?
Like the phone call.
Mm-hmm. Three-way phone call?
Yes.
Was Birdsong part of talking about how to commit the crime?
Yes.
Like in what way?
How to, like, do it and get, and be gone.
What do you mean by be gone? I've heard you mention that before in your interview. What does be gone mean?
And then leave. Like, commit the crime and then leave.
Leave what?
Commit the crime.
I mean, was his role coaching you how to do it? Or just giving advice? Or actually was he going to be more involved at some point?
That's my understanding. He's coaching me how to do it, like telling me what to do.
Who was?
Both Baker and Mr. Birdsong.
Okay. So Al and Baker told you what to do.
Yes.
What does that mean?
They told me, you gotta do it quick and easy.
What's quick and easy mean?
Stab him. And
So the plan was to stab him.
Yes.
Where was this money coming? I'm sorry, I didn't want to cut you off. What?
In the neck.
In the neck.
Who told you that?
Baker.
Was Baker always planning to be there with you?
You know, they wanted me to do it alone.
They wanted you to do it alone, Al and Baker? You're shaking your head yes. And what was the plan? Tell me about that. What was the plan for you to commit this crime alone?
They were gonna fly me in the night I landed.
The 22nd?
Yes, ma'am.
The day you landed?
The day I landed. So,
Uh-huh.
Baker picked me up and he told me, he's like, listen, we're gonna sit and wait. And I just said, okay.
Did you say what for?
No,
You didn't ask questions. Well, before you came in, were you
Okay.
planning on doing this crime alone?
no.
So if you said Alan Baker wanted you to come in and do it alone, when was that discussed?
Sorry, say it again.
When was that discussed? Before you flew in?
Before I flew in.
And you said yes? You agreed to this?
Yes.
And why would you do that?
He told me they're not going to let anything happen to me. Trust me. I got you.
But what were you going to get for putting yourself on the line?
They told me they were going to just hook me up and send for me.
Again, what were you going to get for doing a murder for them?
I'm assuming they were going to try to pay me, but they didn't say what type of amount.
You're assuming that because they said they were going to pay you?
Yes.
Who said that?
Baker says he's going to get her to give me some money for it.
Who's her?
The victim wife.
Monica.
Monica, thank you.
What kind of money were you expecting to get from this murder that you were going to do all on your own for someone you didn't even know?
Honestly, but I don't, they didn't say a number. They just said I'm going to hook you up and then I'm going to send for you. So I'm assuming a few thousand.
That's what you assumed? Did they say that?
They said, I was told
By?
Baker that if you do this, I'll get Monica to give you some money
From where?
from her life insurance.
And
He
you were...
ran off like a few numbers.
Like what? Tell me about the numbers.
30, 40, 50, maybe 50 grand, I don't know.
He mentioned 30
Between 30 and 50 grand.
and $50,000.
Yeah.
So, because you're not going to come in and like murder some guy you don't even know. I mean, you're Chris Austin.
Yes, ma'am.
Like, you're a decent human being. You're not going to fly your cookies into LAX
No,
for a couple of bucks.
no.
They're promising you, Baker says he's going to give you somewhere between $30,000 and $50,000 to off Monica's husband.
Yes.
And you said okay
Yes.
because
He said, trust me, I won't let anything happen to you. And I was stupid.
did you ever have any conversation directly with Monica about her wanting her husband killed?
No, ma'am.
So how do you know that Monica was going to get life insurance money and give you any money?
I trusted Baker. The night we got there,
Well, the night you got there. Okay, let's go there. Go ahead. 122.
he said she's going to send them to the store. And
When?
on 122.
What time?
It was maybe 7 or 8. It was
In the morning?
at night.
Well, he's already dead, guys.
No.
Okay, that's 122. She's going to send him to the store that night. Okay.
And we went to the store.
You guys went to the store?
I remember we went to, he said she's going to
Who said?
Baker. He got information.
From who?
Monica.
Where were you?
I was in his house.
So you're at Baker's apartment.
Yeah.
Is his roomie there? The security guard dude, Bailey?
I don't think I've met him.
Okay. You have no information that Bailey's involved in anything.
No.
What about a guy named Roger Brown? Ever heard of him?
No.
How about Howard Lynch, a lawyer?
I know that name.
You know Howard Lynch.
I know that name.
Have you ever met him?
Yes.
I'll come back to the Howard Lynch thing.
One thing,
Go ahead.
if you don't mind. We're talking about, I'm just clarifying. We're talking about you flew in, you got in the early morning hours. right? Because you said it was an overnight flight, you think? Wasn't it like an overnight flight? So are we talking about now, the 22nd or the 23rd, Beth?
This is the night of January 22nd.
You got in the morning of the 22nd?
He gets
Right, okay.
picked up by Baker. Let me give you specifics. You tell me if this is right. It's not on here. It's gotta be, I'm on the wrong page, sorry.
7:38 in the morning. I'm not right. The morning, early. Okay. If you can, and when you say he, like, let us know who, because now we kind of divert a little bit, can you tell us, if you're okay with that, just kind of like, you picture of like what the conversation was, like, just tell us straight through, and then she can go back and, like, ask you some specifics. And you know what we're looking for is, like,
I know.
who's talking to who, how do you know?
I want to make sure I give you what you're asking for, truthfully.
Right.
I don't want to, oh yeah, that happened. And
Yeah.
Yes, and I just say yeah.
Right, I just want to know why.
I don't want to do that.
If you could do it in your words, just kind of walk us through when he picked you up maybe, and then we can go back. So that from your words, you can kind of tell us, and you know what we're asking you is the conversation about the planning and who was involved in it and how you knew things.
I knew things mostly from Facebook.
Okay. And if you could just go through it then.
But you also said Birdsong was on the phone and
Right.
giving.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's take our afternoon recess. We're going to make it 15 minutes so you can get up, stretch your legs, walk around. The admonition applies. See you back here in 15 minutes. Present the jury and also present, Mr. Austin, you're still under oath. Mr. Levine, you may continue.
You can continue to, as long as you can play your own.
Very good.
Right.
I don't want to, oh yeah, that happened. And
Yeah.
Yes, and I just say yeah.
Right, I just want to know why.
I don't want to do that.
If you could do it in your words, just kind of walk us through when he picked you up maybe, and then we can go back. So that from your words, you can kind of tell us, and you know what we're asking you is the conversation about the planning and who was involved in it and how you knew things.
I knew things mostly from Facebook.
Okay. And if you could just go through it then.
But you also said Birdsong was on the phone and
Right.
giving.
I did. But in that sense, that was more coaching. Because again, I was on a need to know. So when they talked about
What do you mean by need to know? We're only telling you parts.
they're only telling me like parts. Like I've never talked to mine. Other than meeting her, hi, I'm cool, this is what I do.
Right.
And you went through the racquetball thing. Like I said, I would be into myself, but I don't know what's going on at this time.
When the
But
conference,
when he picked me up, that's what you want to know, right?
well, I just, yes, the line that she was just asking, kind of in your own words, how it played out.
Picked up, I'm going to go back to the house, I'm going to chill.
This is Baker's apartment.
Yes,
Do you remember the address of the street?
no,
Does the street Independence ring a bell?
yes, by a gas station.
Okay.
I'm a landmark person, but I don't know if that helps you.
I know exactly the gas station you're talking about.
Okay.
Go ahead.
I'm going to chill, wait, and then he went to the store, he bought a knife,
Which store?
a Walmart. I remember a Walmart.
Did you go with?
I did.
Did you go with him?
In the store?
Yeah.
I did.
What kind of knife?
A little, what do they call it?
Folding knife?
Folding knife. Folding knife.
What do you mean one? Was there more than one?
Yeah, he had have one, but he's like a little weapon collector person.
But the knife that was bought at Walmart with you present to use for the murder is what kind of knife?
I want to use long term, I believe it's a hunting knife.
Hunting knife. Let me just stop you for a second. Just quickly, and I'm going to go out of order. Number 6. Sit at number 6. Do you recognize this knife?
Yes. Yes.
Is this the knife the two of you bought, or is this the knife Baker already had? The folding knife.
I think that's the one.
This is the knife he bought with you
I think so.
at Walmart.
Yes.
So you would call this not a folding knife, you would call this a hunting knife?
Well, it technically is a folding knife, but it's folded into itself.
But you call it a hunting knife.
No, I would call it a folding knife because you kind of move it to the side.
But you used the hunting knife, and so I just want to make sure we're talking about the same knife.
That's a knife, yes.
You only bought one knife with him, or did you buy more than one knife with him?
I think there were 2 knives.
You bought 2 knives that night.
I think so, yes.
What was the other knife?
It was, I think that one was like one that went into like a pouch, I believe.
Okay. Is that the one that you were referring to as a hunting knife?
Yes.
And was the idea that each of you were going to have a knife on you when you went to this scene?
Yes.
But you had told us just a little while ago that Baker and Al wanted you to go in and do the murder alone.
Yes.
What changed, and when did that change?
It takes me to the day I got there that night.
You go into Walmart with them.
I got it.
Okay, good. Do it in your order. We'll go back.
That was already the Walmart. We went there, did that, came back to the house. And he was, I believe he was either texting her or Baker was either texting Monica or called.
How do you know
I
that?
believe it was a text, so I don't think I saw him on the phone. And he said that she's going to send her to the store. She's going to send him to the store. She's going to send him to the store.
Baker said this.
Baker informed me that Monica is going to send her husband to the store to get some stuff. And he said, we're going to meet him there. He said, I want you to go out and look for a blue pickup truck.
Blue?
I think it was blue. Blue or black. It was a dark color pickup truck.
Okay.
And I went and saw him, and I went back to the car. He said, you didn't do it? I said, no.
Did you see him?
I caught a glance at him, yes.
Do you know what he looks like?
Not really. I didn't have no glasses on.
Did anybody show you or send you a photo of him ahead of time so you would know who you were looking for?
He showed me a picture.
Who did?
Baker did.
Of the person you're supposed to kill?
Yes.
When did he show you that photo?
I think the night I got there.
That was the first time.
To my knowledge, yes. That I can recall.
Did he tell you his name? Did you know his name ahead of time?
No. He told me, he said, you don't know this motherfucker.
He said what?
He said, you don't know this motherfucker.
You don't know this motherfucker.
That's what he told me.
When did he show you the picture of the person he wanted you to kill?
I want to say the night after, before we went to the store to see if he was alone.
The night that you came in?
Yeah, that Monica sent him to the store.
Did you go with Baker to the store? You said you went and looked for the truck.
Yeah, he parked and he told me to get out. And I said, okay. Now again, I don't have my glasses on, so I don't.
Where did they park?
On the other side of the store.
What store?
Don't recall the name of the store, but it wasn't too far from the house.
Supermarket? Drugstore? What kind of store?
Grocery store. I said, what's popular here? Ralph's is popular here, right? Is it Ralph?
There's many of them.
It was a grocery store.
And he stayed in the lot?
He stayed in the car.
And what are you wearing when you go in?
Dark clothes that I can remember.
Well, gave them to you.
You didn't go in. Did you say you went in for it?
No, I didn't go in. It's kind of like,
Lurks out front?
from what I remember walking through, like a, shopping center.
Mm-hmm.
Like a shopping center.
Okay.
And it was like a grocery store. And so people,
Busy?
it was
What time of night?
pretty, kind of late. What do you consider late?
Well, doesn't matter, I
Was
feel
it
it.
dark out or it was dark?
Was the plan that you were going to do something in the parking lot?
They wanted to.
Okay.
Who's they?
Baker and Monica.
How do you know that?
Because Baker told me that Monica could come to the store so we can eat on there.
I'm going to show you number 7. Were you shown a photo of that guy by Baker so you would know who to look for?
Yes.
Is that Monica Sementilli, the guy you were supposed to kill?
Yes.
Why did they want you to do it? You never asked? Like, why me? Why not you, Baker?
Let me tell you what I believe is because I wasn't from here.
Did they say anything about that? Did they just say no one knows you out here?
Baker said, no, you're not known out here. You don't have a record. It's in and out. I won't let anything happen to you. Trust me. And I trusted him.
And so what happened at that store that night?
I didn't do it.
Why?
I got back in the car and I can't do it.
Because you were afraid? Is that a yes?
Yes.
And so then what happened?
He said, don't worry about it. And then we went back to the house. And at that point, I was like, cool. I'm somebody else. I don't want to do this. And I went to that and I went to sleep. And in my mind, that's over. It's time. That's it.
Next day?
Next day, wake up, I'm chilling, watching TV.
You're not freaked out that like the night before these people were trying to get you to commit a murder? Is everything I watched them too?
I am, Beth, but like I try to bring that down. Don't freak out. You know, you're about to leave soon. It's only a couple days. Baker's gonna say, all right, get it. We're gonna go down to Hollywood. We're gonna eat Roscoe's. We're gonna get back to what we used to do. Just kind of chill. Like, sorry, I should do that. Don't worry about it. That's what was going through my mind. Because he said, trust me. The day it happened, he's like, what if I go with you? I was like, I don't want to go. He said, I need you to go with me. I said, okay, foolishly. And I was in there for a while, and I was trying to figure out, like, how can I get out of here? My ride to the airport.
And do you go with Baker that morning when he leaves?
Leave where?
The apartment. Because remember you talked,
I was at his apartment most of the day.
and did he leave for certain periods of time?
When I woke up, he was gone. I don't know, he went to the store or something like that. Common.
And when Baker picked you up at the airport on the 22nd, do you remember what vehicle he was driving?
I was showing a picture, so I know now. It's like a little Nissan.
I'm talking about the day of that he picked you up at LAX. Do you remember what he was driving that day?
The day he picked me up, he was like a little Nissan or something like that.
Is it possible that the Nissan was a car that he didn't get until the day of the murder? Do you remember? Okay.
Wait. You said picked up.
When he picked you up at LAX on January 22nd, the night that you were supposed to go kill Fabio, after the two of you went to Walgreens and purchased 2 knives. Do you remember what car he picked you up from the airport in?
He was a Nissan Expedition.
Quick question, are we gonna take a lunch recess?
Yes,
I thought,
is now a good time, is that your interest?
Now's a good time,
Absolutely.
and I can, now's a good time, maybe.
Okay, how long do y'all want? Do we want to go on the record still? You can go off the record because we're talking about lunch now, it's 12:44. All right, it's 1:44, I think everybody's had, 44, everybody's had an opportunity to get perhaps something to eat and drink. Mr. Austin, have you been able to have something to drink and get something to eat?
yes, ma'am.
And are you ready to proceed?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Heather, do you want to back up a little bit?
All right, so going back to the conversation when this first started.
Let me just say for the record that I bought lunch for Mr. Austin from Senior Fish down the street, so there's no speculation about his lunch. We can proceed.
Thank you for that. Thank you. Okay, so back to the conversation. The best you can remember when it first started, right? If you remember, was it Baker that came up and started this whole idea? Was it Birdsong? Were they together? If you remember how it first started, that there was a conversation about this.
They were together.
In person?
Yeah.
Okay, where did you see him? Do you remember?
When I went to Vegas.
Okay, when was that?
Few months.
Was it the time that we talked about before when you got that ticket at the Aria? Was it that trip?
Yes.
Okay. So that was July of 2016, does that sound right?
It was hot, yeah.
Okay. So, go ahead.
One where you talked about the cat fraternity.
The Q-Dog, Shaquille was the Q-Dog, and Buddy went to school with. I was kind of
Like
looking
that's
at
the time frame you're talking
I
about.
believe so, around that time.
So before that, you don't recall any conversations about Monica's husband and doing anything to him? There was nothing
No.
talked about before that?
No.
When you went to Vegas, did you know that you're going to talk about that kind of stuff?
No.
Okay. Hold on 1 second. So when you got to, when you went to Vegas, what you were going for what?
Then the impression that he wanted, I didn't see him in a while, I just come hang out.
Okay. So when you started then with Baker, he picked you up, you drove to Vegas, and then you met Birdsong there.
Yeah.
At his house or was that at the hotel?
I think it was at the house.
And then how did this conversation evolve about Monica and her husband?
He said that he was messing with somebody, and my mom, like, whatever.
You're talking about Baker?
Yeah.
Okay.
He always messing with somebody.
Okay.
That I can't remember. They started just talking about, like, yo, she's got money, da-da-da. I was like, oh, dang. I think I made, like, a stupid comment. I'm like, no, you must have hit it again. He was like, you know, he was like, trying. That I can recall, like, how conversations would be.
Yeah.
And then I walked away or something like that. They always talk in secret.
Who's they?
Mr. Birdsong, Baker.
Like code words or something?
No, they just
Oh.
closed doors. Like, they were both government officials, so like, government officials, like, I'm not a government official, so it's not my business.
Baker was a government official?
He told me he was an MP
Years ago.
years ago.
So were you at, you might just answer this, were you at Birdsong's house?
Yes.
Okay. And then, so how did the conversation then come up about Monica and her husband?
The husband piece, I don't recall, but I just recall him saying, like, I'm messing with somebody, but I'm introduce you one day. And I'm like, oh, okay.
Now, at that moment, did you know that she was in Vegas at the same time?
No.
That whole trip then, did you find out she was in Vegas at some point?
No. I don't think, I don't really remember that piece.
Okay. So how did it come up then? Was that the first time you had a conversation just about Monica and her husband or about, doing something to her husband?
That was, I think, a few nights later, I think just before I left, they were like talking about it, drinking beers, like, yo, I might have a job for you.
Okay, that's
That's how it kind of come up for
Who
me.
said they might have a job?
Baker.
And then how did that conversation go? Just kind of walk us through what you can best remember. And who said what?
I was in and out of the house,
Okay.
so I want to put that on the record. like, you could do this. Like, do what? I was like, they said nothing. I was like, oh, okay. I kept drinking my beer at the time. And then what I can recall was like, she don't like him. I was like, and again, I'm quiet. For context, speak when spoken to subject. I don't really interrupt like
What
that.
does she don't like him mean? What did they say about that?
To my knowledge, she don't like him, meaning like she doesn't like the man she's with right now.
And did someone say that to you?
Bigger.
They said that,
Not to me,
but in front of you.
in front of me.
At this point, you had never met her.
No.
You knew of her name, just from Baker, that's it, just Monica.
I'm not lying to you. When you mentioned her name, that's when her name came back up. I forgot her name.
Okay.
Just like there's a lot of people I forgot that he introduced me to. Excuse me.
But you knew who he was talking about with Birdsong. You knew it was Monica then. When he's talking about her and she don't like him.
After it kind of clicked
Okay.
that this is a person that they were talking about in Vegas, to my knowledge.
That Baker and Birdsong were talking.
Yes.
Okay. So now you know they're trying to get you maybe involved
In some way, shape, or
in
form.
some way. Did you ask any questions then?
No.
Did the conversation go any further at that point?
No.
Okay, so it kind of just ended with, there's no planning, no talking about anything.
No. Not to my knowledge, no. Typically how anything, when I worked for him the other day, you do something for me, I really ask. Other than, what's up? Like, I'll let you know. And then that's how it happens. Like, I'll let you know. And so I was like, okay. Then I go on about my married little wife.
And then the rest of your trip in Vegas, then you didn't see any females with Baker that you would have thought was this Monica person or anything like
I
that?
don't know about that.
Journey on the Vegas?
Yeah, if I were to tell you that we were able to put your phone, Baker's phone, and Monica's phone all together at the Aria in July of 2016, how would you be able to explain that?
I rode with Baker to the Aria. Said, come take a ride with me. And I went.
Do you remember doing that?
I remember riding with him to the Aria. And when you asked me about it, I was like, have I been to this? I've been to this like 2 times.
And this is in July of 2016.
Yes.
And did Baker, during this trip, mention to you or to Al in front of you that Monica and Fabio were also there at the Aria?
Oh. No. But I do remember being at that hotel and casinos, and I remember standing around.
You said you got ballet tickets.
It's like a ballet card thingy. Kind of puts like money for the slot machine, but how they work it.
Did you also withdraw some money at the Aria?
I think so, yeah.
How did you and Baker get to Vegas? Did you fly in initially to LAX and then drive
We drove.
from LAX or from Baker's?
Yeah.
And did you drive in a rental vehicle, in Baker's Expedition? Do you recall?
I think we took some other things. It was close to Las Vegas. We probably drove.
We're going to show you a picture. So you flew in. Did Baker again give you the money for the ticket to come into LAX?
I think so. I think he bought it. He had all my information. So I'm going to buy your ticket.
Would you ever have purchased your own ticket to come to LAX?
If I had, the finances, sure, I'd come to LA, buy it myself.
Do you remember ever doing that when you went to Vegas, or did you know Baker sent you the money for this July 2016 trip?
I think I might have bought the ticket
Okay.
to come see him.
Showing you Exhibit 8. Is this the Mustang that you're referring to? It's a red Mustang.
Yes, ma'am.
Do you recognize, by the way, this parking garage? It's the parking garage where Baker was living when you went to stay with him, not only in 2016, but again right before the murder in 2017?
Yes, ma'am.
So you don't recall ever running into or having any conversations or meeting Monica at all in Las Vegas in 2016?
I don't recall, but I might have.
So you could have.
I could have.
Okay, so as far as that trip, then you drove back with Baker, then you drove back to LA, and then flew back to Alaska?
Yes.
Okay. So that initial conversation, you heard part of them talking something about her not liking, this woman not liking her husband. How did it, when's the next time it came up that there started being conversations between you and Birdsong and Baker?
I gotta go back to 2016, right? I was working on might have came up in like a phone conversation. You recall, say, remember, I think I did meet her in Vegas. You remember that?
You did meet her.
I think I did
Where?
in Vegas.
Where?
I think at the hotel.
Do you remember anything about it at all?
No. I don't even remember the Aria Hotel other than the little car and the Aria Hotel. That is Aria Hotel.
And what did you guys do together, the three of you?
I remember standing. We probably would have ate on TV. So
Was Birdsong with you guys? If you remember. Or do you think it was just
I think so.
Rob and Monica?
I think it was just me and Rob. I think it was just me and Baker. I think Birdsong stayed at the house.
So is that the
Or
one on
maybe-
Timberline?
Yes, ma'am.
And did she have a daughter that you knew?
Yes.
What's her name? Jamie? Could it be Jenny?
Who?
His daughter?
Who's talking?
Al Birdsong.
Jamie.
Jamie. How many times would you say you stayed with Al Birdsong in Las Vegas over the years? A dozen? More?
Just when I visited, so if it was a 4-day trip, that's where I was at for 3 nights.
So how many times?
Maybe 8.
Total, over all these years.
Yeah, maybe about 8.
Okay. And you're still in contact with Al we talked about this morning. You're still in contact with Al Birdsong.
Not now.
Yes, but before you were arrested,
Prior, yes.
right? And he now lives where?
To my understanding, he lives in Texas, I believe.
And when would you say the last time you spoke with him was?
A few weeks before I got arrested, we talked about, like, I think it was like a business opportunity he wanted me to get involved in. Like, all you had to do was pay like $90 a month. But I told him, I was like, listen, my finances are tight due to a bad business deal with a friend, a former friend, and I'm in debt, a lot of money, so I got to work to pay that off.
Did you guys talk about this murder after the murder?
No.
Never.
After,
Yeah.
so in 2017,
Yeah.
yes.
So tell us about, in 2017, after the murder, what your conversations were with Al Birdsong.
He told me not to say anything. He said, don't say nothing. I know how this works. You get a lawyer immediately. And, powerful women.
Powerful what?
Powerful women frighten me. So, I listened to that when I talked to you. When I saw Heather, I was like, look,
Anyway, she's not.
I'm not saying to her.
So, but did the two of you discuss, like, what had happened during the murder?
He knew about it.
What did you discuss?
He told me, don't say anything to nobody, keep yourself together.
What did you tell
Get a
him?
passport. I just said, okay.
He told you to get a passport?
Told me to get a passport, and don't say anything, If everything goes through, Baker's going to send for you.
What does that mean?
Fly me out of Alaska. That's how I interpreted it.
And send you where?
I have no clue.
But at that
It
time,
didn't say.
you were already hooked up with Chloe. So
Barely. Yeah.
it would have included her.
No.
So you would have left Chloe and gone alone somewhere.
Yeah.
Is that yes?
He asked me if he can share the topics with you guys. I said yes. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
After that had happened, I didn't anticipate being with Chloe anymore because I didn't anticipate being alive because I had planned to kill myself. Because it's Alaska, it's dark. And I was just planning to do that.
Why?
I'm ashamed of what I had done. And because of what I participated in, I didn't want to be alive anymore, so I planned numerous ways to get rid of myself so that nobody could ever miss me. It's very dark.
Did you communicate with Al Birdsong through phone calls, email, messaging apps, burner phone?
Phone calls, burner phone at one point.
The same burner phone you used with Baker?
Yes.
And what, if anything, did Al Birdsong talk to you about before the murder about how to go about committing the murder, if he said anything at all about that?
Oh, I was in the room.
So this was in Vegas?
No. It was in Vegas. And we were in the room, one of his rooms, and they were talking about how would you do it, and he said, you gotta run up on somebody, and you gotta hit him in the neck, quick.
Why on the neck?
I heard the word jugular.
From who?
I want to say Baker, but Birdsong agreed. But yeah, that's the best way to do it.
And this is when you guys were talking about the fact that you were going to kill Monica's husband at some point.
Yes.
And this was happening in what month?
They didn't say what.
When was this conversation?
When I was in Vegas
July?
in July.
So this is the time when you met Monica in July in Vegas?
I said it like I said, yes, I probably met her, but I just don't remember meeting her in Vegas.
But then you just told us a few minutes ago you think you did.
That's what I'm telling you.
Yeah.
So something jogged your memory because you said, oh wait, I did. You said Baker called you. I asked you when the next time it is after Vegas that you talked about Monica and her husband and maybe a plan, and that seemed to jog your memory. And you said, you know what, I did meet her. Is that
I think I did meet her.
that jogged your memory? Is that what it was?
Yeah, but because I had met so many people, she was just another person. And when I say just another person, I don't mean that in like a disregard for people. I was like, okay, this is somebody that I met that he's probably, interested in working a deal with.
Had you already met her before at the gym, before this date? Or was the time that you told us about earlier after?
I don't think so. I think now that Jim is like, do you remember her, right? And he's like, yeah. And I think we played a couple games of racquetball together. Said, I want to see my teaching. I was like, okay. Because he taught me how to play years ago.
Baker?
Yes,
So the gym you think was the second time you met her?
I think so.
When was it that you went to her house?
Probably later that night or the next night.
Night of what?
I don't remember the night, but I know it was dark.
You mean the time that you went and met her at the gym? What year were we talking about when you first went to Monica's house?
The 2016.
2016.
Yeah.
You went to Monica's house with Baker.
Yes.
Would that have been the first, second, or third time you met her?
How do you, I'm confused. How do you meet her?
So you said you believe you met her first in Las Vegas in 2016.
Had a brief interaction, probably, yes.
Met is met.
Yeah, it is.
I'm not asking you for how long. You said you met her also at LA Fitness, so you played racquetball with her.
Yes. Okay, yeah. So probably either that night after racquetball or the next night, we went to her house.
Who went?
Baker took me over there.
And when you went to Monica's house, who was home?
Monica,
Alone?
to my knowledge, yes.
Did you see anybody else?
No, I
Any
did not.
cars in the driveway?
No, I did not.
Did Baker tell you why you were going to Monica's house?
No.
And what happened when you got to Monica's house?
She had some pizza. I ate some pizza,
She made it or ordered it?
ordered it,
Okay.
Domino's.
Okay.
Ate a couple slices of pizza. They talked about racquetball. She showed me the back patio.
Why did she show you the back patio?
I assumed she was showing me her house.
Did she tell you that that's the location where her husband would hang out all the time?
No, she said this is where we hang out all the time.
Did anybody ever tell you, Baker, Monica, anybody else, that Fabio, at any time, would always hang out on the back patio?
Baker told after, I don't know how long I was there because I fell asleep. Okay.
At Monica's house?
On the couch, yeah. But after we, Baker tapped me and said, hey, let's go. I said, okay. Got in the car and said, you all right? I said, I'm sure. He said, so apparently, that's where we like to hang out in the back. So remember that patio. Don't fall in the pool. I said, what? And I just shook it off from there. I just said, okay.
But this is after Las Vegas, so you already knew that there was a plan that to kill.
Now I know. Yeah.
So at the time he tells you, you already knew that. The
Yeah.
plan, okay.
I'm gonna go back to what I was asking. If you can tell me. You did Vegas. Okay. You said you got a jog of a memory that you had met her. And again, just met, maybe saw her in Vegas. If you remember, do you think it's after you saw her that you went back and then you started having a conversation about when Birdsong was giving kind of direction on how to do it? Was it after you saw her? So that's how you knew who they were talking about?
Yeah.
Okay. And then was Birdsong also giving you any it seemed like they were leading the plan. Was it Baker or Birdsong?
I believe they were kind of working together.
Okay.
And they're both former government, so again.
Well, I hope government people don't plan that.
They were talking amongst each other how to do it.
Yeah.
In front
And I
of you?
remember, yeah,
Like what?
like he could probably do it. He's asking me, like, what do you mean? And then they started,
So they talking about how to do it?
how to do it.
Like, how did they say, let's check first weapons. Are they talking how, whether it be shooting, knife, gun?
First thought was like beat up, and then they was like, maybe you could sneak in while he's sleeping. Okay, Monica can leave. You can tie him up and do it then.
And at this point, did it sound like from what they were saying that Monica was in on this as well?
It seemed that way, yes.
Why?
Just because it's like how, but not how the conversation, but how they were going. Like they were on the phone a lot.
Okay, did you hear him talking to them or just
Not
texting?
texting.
And did you think he was texting Monica? Or the woman at this point?
I think so.
But I guess
But I don't-
why?
What do you mean?
Like, why do you think that she was in on it and he was maybe communicating with her?
Probably because they were messing with each other.
But would you responding to text and saying, oh, and you can do this, oh, he won't be home at this time? Did he seem like he was referencing his phone while he
The
was
day
talking?
of, I can.
Okay.
There. If you're.
We'll get there.
Okay, so where are you?
We're still in Vegas.
Okay.
Okay.
I don't know about that piece,
Okay.
but it just, if
Okay.
they were talking about it, it seemed like that would be good.
Okay.
She would be the person why, so she knew the information.
And when you first met Monica in Vegas during that 26,
Thank you. Okay, we're going to adjourn until tomorrow at 9 a.m. As always, the evidence applies. You must discuss this case either among yourselves or with anyone else. Or form express an opinion of the causes finally submitted to you. Go ahead and leave your transcripts on your seat or in front of you. Have a good evening. Tomorrow will be the last day for a while for all of us. Have a good evening. See you tomorrow at 9.